The Appalachian Mountains are older than the Atlantic Ocean, older than the Rocky Mountains. For millions of years, these forests have stood in silence, stretching more than 2,000 miles across the eastern United States. To most people, they're just beautiful mountains. But to the people who live there, they're alive with stories. Stories passed down through generations. Stories that come with warnings. Don't whistle after dark. Don't answer if something calls your name. And if the forest suddenly goes completely silent, leave immediately. Some say these are nothing more than old superstitions. Others believe they're the reason people make it home. Tonight, we're exploring 3 of the most disturbing Appalachian encounters ever shared. Whether they're true, misunderstood, or something else entirely, I'll let you decide. Story 1. The Voice That Knew His Name. In the autumn of 1998, a hunter headed into the mountains of eastern Kentucky before sunrise. He had hunted these woods since he was a child. He knew every trail, every creek, every ridge. The forest felt familiar. Until that morning, everything was unusually quiet. No birds, no squirrels, no wind moving through the trees. Just silence. Then he heard it. Dad. It was his daughter's voice. Soft, faint, somewhere deep in the forest. His heart skipped. His daughter wasn't supposed to be there. She was still asleep at home, nearly 20 miles away. At least, she should have been. Again, Dad. This time, the voice sounded closer. Scared, almost desperate. His first instinct was to run toward it. What if something had happened? What if she somehow wandered into the woods? Then he remembered something his grandfather had repeated his entire life. If you hear someone calling your name in these mountains, and you know they shouldn't be there, don't answer. Don't follow. Walk away. He froze. The voice called again. Closer. Dad, help me. Every word sounded exactly like his daughter. The same tone, the same emotion, the same fear. But something wasn't right. The words echoed strangely, as if they weren't coming from one place, as if they were coming from everywhere at once. He tightened his grip on his rifle and slowly backed away. The voice kept following him, never getting louder, never getting quieter, always the same distance away. Then, it stopped. The birds began singing again. The wind returned. The forest sounded normal. He hurried back to his truck without looking behind him. When he arrived home, his daughter was sitting at the kitchen table eating breakfast. She had never left the house. He never hunted that section of forest again. To this day, stories almost identical to his continue to circulate throughout Appalachia. Locals have a simple rule. If a familiar voice comes from somewhere impossible, keep walking. Never answer. Story 2. The Thing Beside the Road. Late one October night, a young couple drove along a winding mountain road in West Virginia. There were no streetlights, no nearby houses, only miles of forest. The drive had been completely normal, until something appeared in their headlights. A deer, standing perfectly still beside the road. At first, neither of them thought much of it. Deer are common in Appalachia. But after several seconds, the animal didn't move. It didn't blink. It simply stared. The driver slowed down. As they drew closer, both of them realized something was wrong. Its legs looked too long. Its neck seemed strangely twisted. Its eyes reflected brightly in the headlights. Then, it slowly stood upright. Not suddenly. Slowly. Almost effortlessly. Its front legs hung awkwardly beside its body. Its head remained tilted toward the car. Neither of them spoke. The driver slammed the accelerator. The car sped away. After several hundred yards, the passenger looked into the rearview mirror. The figure hadn't chased them. It hadn't moved at all. It was still standing exactly where they had first seen it, watching. When they shared their experience online, hundreds of comments appeared from people claiming they had seen something similar. Many called it the not deer, a creature that looks almost like a deer, but never quite right. Wildlife experts suggest poor visibility, injuries, or disease could explain many sightings. But even today, stories of the not deer continue to emerge from towns scattered across the Appalachian Mountains. And almost every witness describes the same overwhelming feeling, that whatever they saw was watching them far more carefully than they were watching it. If you're enjoying these stories, don't forget to follow the Hollow Hours. Every week, we explore the world's darkest folklore, unexplained encounters, and legends that refuse to die. Now, let's continue. Story 3. 3 Knocks After Midnight. Deep in the mountains of North Carolina, a woman rented an old cabin for a quiet weekend. As he handed her the keys, the owner smiled and said, "If you hear 3 knocks after midnight, don't open the door." She laughed, thinking it was just another local ghost story. That night, around 2 in the morning, she woke to 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. She looked through the window. No one was there, just darkness. A minute later, the same 3 knocks echoed again. This time, she reached for the doorknob. Then she remembered the owner's warning. Instead of opening the door, she stepped back and waited. The knocks never came again. When the sun rose, She went outside to look around. The ground was soft from the night's rain. There were no footprints, no tire tracks, no sign that anyone had been outside her cabin. She packed her bags and left that morning. To this day, she says she's never spent another night alone in the Appalachian Mountains. Across Appalachia, families have passed down the same warning for generations. If you hear 3 knocks after midnight, no matter how curious you are, don't answer the door. Story 4. The Whistle in the Dark. One autumn evening, 3 friends were camping deep in the Appalachian Mountains. The fire was burning low, and the forest around them had grown completely dark. To pass the time, one of the friends started whistling. Just a simple tune. Almost immediately, the oldest man in the group looked at him and said, "Don't whistle after dark." The others laughed, assuming he was joking. He wasn't. "My grandfather grew up in these mountains," he said. "He always told me that whistling at night attracts things you don't want to meet." A few moments later, a whistle echoed back from somewhere deep in the woods. The group fell silent. "It was probably another camper," one of them said. Then the whistle came again. This time, it was much closer. No one could see anyone between the trees. The firelight only reached a few feet into the darkness. One of the friends grabbed a flashlight and swept it across the forest. Nothing. No movement. No people. Just trees. Then, for the 3rd time, the whistle answered. Now it sounded like it was circling their campsite. The oldest man quietly whispered, "Whatever you do, don't whistle back." No one spoke for the rest of the night. The whistles continued every few minutes until just before sunrise. When daylight finally came, they searched the area around their camp. There were no footprints, no nearby campsites, no sign that anyone else had been there. None of the 3 friends ever whistled in the Appalachian Mountains again. To this day, many locals still repeat the same warning. If you hear a whistle in the woods after dark, don't answer it. Story 5. The Silent Trail. In the summer of 2016, an experienced hiker set out alone on a little-used trail in western North Carolina. He had spent years exploring the Appalachian wilderness. He carried a map, a GPS, extra food, everything an experienced outdoorsman would need. About 3 hours into the hike, something changed. The forest became silent. No birds, no insects, no wind. Even the leaves seemed perfectly still. At first, he assumed a predator might be nearby. Then he noticed another strange detail. The temperature had suddenly dropped. Not by a few degrees, by enough that he could see his breath. Even though it was the middle of summer, he stopped walking. That's when he heard footsteps. Slow, measured, crunch, crunch, crunch. Somewhere behind him. He turned around. Nothing. The trail was empty. The footsteps stopped. He kept walking. A few seconds later, crunch, crunch, crunch. Again, always behind him, always matching his pace. Every time he stopped, the footsteps stopped too. He later admitted that every instinct told him to run. Instead, he calmly turned around one final time. Still, nothing. He never saw another person, never saw an animal, never found tracks. He walked back the way he had come, refusing to look into the trees. The moment he reached the main trail, the sounds of birds returned almost instantly. Years later, he described it as the most frightening experience of his life. Many Appalachian locals believe the sudden silence of the forest is more than coincidence. Whether it's caused by predators, natural changes in wildlife, or something no one can explain, most agree on one thing. If the mountains suddenly become silent, don't wait to find out why. The Appalachian Mountains have existed for hundreds of millions of years. Long before roads, long before towns, long before people. Whether these stories are folklore, coincidence, or something we simply don't understand, one thing is certain. The people who call these mountains home have learned to respect them. They don't whistle after dark. They don't answer impossible voices. And they don't open the door after 3 mysterious knocks. Maybe they're just being cautious. Or maybe they know something the rest of us don't. Thank you for spending this time in the Hollow Hours. If you enjoy true folklore, eerie encounters, and the world's darkest legends, make sure to follow the Hollow Hours for more unforgettable stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and whatever you do, if the mountains call your name, don't answer.